is Victor Chang. And to introduce Victor is Chen. Mr. Chen is the Executive Director of the Asian American Bar Association of New York, a position he has held since August 2009. I may be wrong on this, but I think Albany is the largest Asian American Bar Association in the country. And a shout out to Victor Chang in connection with all of his leadership in leading Albany for many years. Prior to becoming the executive director of Albany, Mr. Chen was an attorney specializing in antitrust and complex commercial litigation.
Thank you, Lorraine, and it's my pleasure to give the intro to Vincent Chang. If Woody Allen is right that 80% of success is just showing up, then Vince Chang is the most successful guy I know by several orders of magnitude. I'm actually not sure what Woody Allen meant by that, but if he meant that succeeding is about being present, then Vince Chang's high visibility within the Asian American and the legal community is indeed significant, particularly for Asian Americans, who are all too easily and all too often dismissed as the model minority, not needing anyone's assistance or attention. That somehow, as a minority group, we're all doing all right, on our own, and we don't need anyone's help. When in fact, we encounter bamboo ceilings in our climb up the ladder of success. And we are noted more for our absence than our presence. As noted in the most recent City Bar benchmarking report on diversity, Asian American lawyers are most notably absent in the highest ranks of the legal profession, a fact that has not changed in the many years that the report has been issued, and which this year prompted the City Bar report to note bluntly that Asian American attorneys are, quote unquote, losing ground. So the fact that Vince is receiving this important award today is very significant. It means that Asian Americans are finally being noticed and recognized for the part that we play and the part that we have been playing in increasing and improving diversity in the profession. Yes, Asian Americans are a minority, and we are part of the diverse fabric of this profession, and we have a big part to play in it. As leaders in the Asian American bar, both Andy Han and Vince Chang have made great strides, first within the Asian American bar and the Asian American community, but also extending far beyond. Vince, after serving as president of Albany, joined the board of SABNY, the South Asian Bar Association of New York, and contributed his time, energy, and talent to making that organization dynamic and robust. But Vince did not stop there. He has been active in numerous other bar associations and groups: NYCLA, the NYCLA Foundation, Legal Services of New York City, the Network of Bar Leaders, the Asian American Law Fund of New York, and the New York City Bar. Vince did more than just show up. He was an active participant and leader in each of these organizations and groups. In fact, later tonight, Vince will be a panelist on a NYCLA CLE program on ethical and other recent developments in financial regulation and litigation. And that's good for 1.5 ethics CLEs in case you're interested. No doubt, Vince will take with him his usual red weld filled with papers from one of his cases, and he will most likely go back to his office after the panel and do more work. But that's just like Vince. He not only shows up for the proverbial 8% for success, he puts in the remaining 20% and then some by stepping up, rolling up his sleeves, and getting the job done for the Asian American community and the larger community to which it belongs. As the executive director of Albany, we commend the City Bar for selecting Vince Chang and Andy Han for the City Bar Diversity Champion Award. Vince has earned it as an attorney, bar leader, role model, champion, and friend. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud and honored to present Mr. Vincent T. Chang.
Thank you, Young. And congratulations to all of you on surviving the anticipated Judgment Day and making it here to this spectacular room. Apart from the prospect of earthquakes and conflagration, the coming of apocalypse would have had a truly dire consequence. I would have had to revise this speech. Well, I want to thank the City Bar for this award and the Asian Bar Association of New York for nominating me. I am humbled to follow in the footsteps of the outstanding prior recipients, and I am grateful that Andy Hahn and I stand as the first two Asian American recipients. And I am honored to stand on the same podium with the other three diversity champions this year, each of whom is truly preeminent in the field of promoting diversity. I must say that as a New York County lawyer's stalwart, I feel a little bit like a New York Mets player would if he had been given an award by the rival crosstown Yankees. And I'm especially grateful to Jim Kobach and Catherine Christian, former NYCLA presidents, for their courage in venturing deep into enemy territory. Rest assured, though, that I am contributing to the diversity of the honorees this year in ways other than my bar affiliation. I am, it turns out, the first champion of diversity born in the state of Kansas. A state, second maybe. State notable for Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz and Bob Dole, but not exactly known for its diversity. Well, I want to thank the Asian American Bar Association of New York, NYCLA, and my law firm, Walmuth, Marr & Deutsch. They've all been enormously supportive, and I'm proud beyond words of my association with all three of these great institutions. I don't have time to thank all of the individuals to whom I owe a deep debt of gratitude, so I'd like to make only 2 points. Well, first, as a certified Bar Association junkie, I urge all of you to participate in the good work done by the organized bar. That's a message especially appropriate in this spectacular room. Bar associations are a great engine for social change and the promotion of diversity. City Bar hosted Martin Luther King Jr. and Earl Warren in landmark civil rights speeches in the mid-1960s at a time when it was less than fashionable to do so. County lawyers' history in promoting civil rights goes back to its very inception in 1908. And as far back as 1943, NYCLA refused to renew its affiliation with the American Bar Association because the ABA refused to admit African Americans. And in 1949, NYCLA sponsored a conference on civil rights in the post-World War II era, years ahead of its time. Indeed, the idea of the lawyer-statesman derives from the time of Alexis de Tocqueville and the leading Federalist lawyers. And New York's bar associations exemplify this rich historic tradition. New York has some 50 bar associations, so many that it even has a bar association of bar associations, the leader of which is here today. Within this panoply, there is literally something for everyone, and it behooves us all as lawyers and citizens to participate in the law reform efforts and to partake in the fellowship for which our bar associations are so justly renowned. Second, I want to salute specifically the work done by City Bar's Office of Diversity. The Office of Diversity publishes a statement of diversity principles. It's an eloquent statement of the value of diversity that bears repeating. It answers in part, in very short form, the question that Judge Robinson posed to us as to what is the justification for diversity. And I quote, "Through increased diversity, the legal profession can more effectively address societal and individual needs by bringing to bear more varied perspectives, experiences, and knowledge to the practice of law and the administration of justice." To date, the statement has 126 corporate and law firm signatories. City Bar's Diversity Office, as you've heard, also publishes a diversity benchmarking report, an annual compendium of data which measures diversity in our law firms. The report is an enormously valuable resource for anyone concerned about diversity. As President Seymour pointed out, the benchmarking report notes that progress remains slow and painstaking. The heading of one of its sections is telling. It is that overall progress is slow. Turnover erodes diversity gains. and the steep pyramid remains well entrenched. Another heading reads, little improvement through time. And I would be remiss if I did not point to one of its most salient findings. It has rightly concluded that Asian American lawyers today face not just a glass ceiling, but a concrete wall. The headline in the benchmarking report reads, Asian American attorneys lose ground. So diversity is indeed a journey of 1,000 miles, of which our bar associations have taken only the first steps. More needs to be done, but I am grateful that all of you in this room are firmly focused on the goal of diversity. Your efforts are truly appreciated. Thank you again for this great honor.
Janine is the incoming chair of the Committee on Minorities in the Profession, and for the last few years she has served as secretary with me on the Minorities in the Profession, and I know that that committee cannot be in better hands. Fernando is a partner at Baker & Hotstetter here in New York. In addition to an extensive commercial litigation practice, he has served in various leadership positions in the legal and nonprofit community, including serving as chair of the New York State Bar Association's Committee on Civil Rights and as a board member of Latino Justice for Pearl Deaf, among many, many other organizations. So, Fernando.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think I got the best one on the first try. Thank you, Lorraine, and thank you and your committee for all the hard work you've done in putting together such a fine roster of diversity champions this year, and in particular, our very own Janine Conley. For those of you who don't know Janine, which there may actually be a few of you out there who still don't, she is living proof that there actually is enough time in the day to do everything that you want to do, to make the difference that you want to make for you. We often joke at our office that either she has a clone, which I have a name for, it's called J9, or she just flat out doesn't sleep, because how else can she do all that she does? Seriously, it is that sense of commitment that impressed me the moment I first met Janine when she interviewed at Baker some 5 years ago, fresh off the heels of her clerkship and a brief stint at Arnold & Porter, and no, you cannot have her back. She was bright, engaging, but more importantly, she personified that all too uncommon blend of exceptionalism and empathy. We tried to hire her on the spot, emphasis on tried, but she eventually did join Baker. She said yes, and she has made her mark at the firm as a mentor to many, a paragon of achievement, and a thought leader on the diversity and recruitment committees, crafting policies and practices with results, increasing our minority ranks, and leading the firm's support in civic organizations and pipeline projects too many to recount here today. Equally active outside the office, she has, among so many other things, found the time to be president of the Association of Black Women Attorneys, serve as, I got a shout out there for the, that's good. Serve as secretary to the City Bar's Committee on Minorities in the Profession and soon to be chair, and chair of the advisory board of the Urban Assembly School for Criminal Justice. And by the way, she just made partner. But it's not just what Janine does, because she does it all. It's the way she does it. There isn't anyone at our office, from partner to paralegal, who she hasn't welcomed with open arms, she doesn't know by name, or hasn't reached out to in some tangible way to help create a more inclusive and diverse and collegial environment. If diversity is our DNA, then Janine is the tie that binds it. I bet every morning when Janine wakes up, assuming she slept at all, she, like so many other change makers, I think asks herself those three famous rhetorical questions. If not me, then who? If not now, then when? And then that all too often forgotten third, if not together, than how. It's her trademark that when doing all that she does, when Janine brings in the rising tide, she ensures that it lifts us all. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, my colleague, and 24-hour inspiration, Janine Conley.
Wow, Sheila, I see how you can get choked up. I feel like I should just sit down now. Thank you, Fernando, for that wonderful introduction. I would just like to say that diversity impacts my life on a daily basis. Some of you likely think that I'm talking about the fact that I'm always going to be black or the fact that I'm always going to be female. And while these two things have tremendously impacted my life, I'm also talking about the fact that I was the first person in my family to actually get a law degree. I have two of the hardest working parents known to man, one of which actually integrated the schools in my hometown. So you can imagine how much I have learned from her, but that's a totally different speech at another different time. I'm also a Southerner, in case some of you haven't picked that up yet, but I've been living in New York for probably almost 10 years now, so I feel like I've earned my right to call myself a real New Yorker. I've actually lived in close to 10 cities, traveled all over the world, have been a dance performer in college, and have attempted to do a couple of dance performances here in New York City. I also recently picked up running and have run 2 half marathons and hope to do a lot more. I'm still debating on whether a full marathon is a really good life decision or not. But all of these things have helped shape and mold the person that I am today. So if one was to look first at those 2 characteristics, the fact that I'm black and the fact that I'm female, they would truly miss out on the essence of who I really am. Unfortunately, due to the fear and ignorance, many people do just that. And it's a shame that this country that prides itself on, that it's built on freedom and independence, that we all too often forget that you too are diverse, that you're diverse, that each and every one of us is impacted by our distinct heritages, our backgrounds, and our cultures. And that's one of the main reasons why I do the work that I do. I don't know who the wise person was that said it, but he or she said that diversity is the one thing that we actually have in common, and we should celebrate it every day. But we don't quite do that, do we? There are wars being fought over diverse religions, by diverse ethnic groups, by diverse branches of the same religion. Every day, people are being passed over for employment and promotion because of their race, because of their gender, their sexual orientation, or national origin. And if you break it down to the legal context, the American Bar Foundation did a study, and from 2000 to 2009, the number of minorities has remained stagnant. Just 10% of the total number of minorities are actually diverse attorneys. And in the United States, not a single minority group comprises more than 4.5% of attorneys. Hispanic Americans, the largest and fastest growing minority category in the country, makes up only 3% of lawyers. Clearly, more can be done. But today is a celebration. Today, we are celebrating the successes and the strides that we have made, and I am so proud to be a part of the recipients and to stand up here with Sheila and Vincent and Andy and receive this award. I thank you so much, City Bar, for recognizing the work that I've done with the Association of Black Women Attorneys, which, by the way, is having its 35th anniversary gala on June the 14th. When I became an attorney, ABWA really was a support network for me. And so for me to be able to give back means so very much to me. The Committee on Minorities in the Profession has done tremendous work and has provided a platform for diverse attorneys to showcase their skills and their legal acumen. And Baker Hostetler. I was number 54 when I started at the firm, and that firm has tripled in size now. But I'm so proud to be able to serve on the hiring committee and to be able to see how much our diversity numbers have continued to grow as we grow as a firm. And then there's my work with the Urban Assembly School for Criminal Justice. I'm so fortunate. It's a school of all girls, and the firm has supported the school since its inception in 2007. I was fortunate enough to actually be the commencement speaker for the first 9th grade class to graduate, and to be able to look out at the eyes of those young girls who I know are going to be attorneys one day was just very emotional. You know, I really can't take credit, though, for everything I do, because a lot of what I do, God puts on my heart to do, and I know it's the right thing. When folks ask me, how do I get everything done, or why is diversity important to you, I just think about those that I stand on the shoulders of, like Charlotte E. Ray, who became the first African-American woman admitted to the bar of the United States, or Jane Boleyn, who was the first African-American judge, and who also was the first African-American woman member to become part of the city bar. So embracing diversity is extremely, extremely important to me. We must celebrate our uniqueness. And as Maya Angelou so eloquently put it, we all should know that diversity makes for a rich tapestry, and we must understand that all the threads of the tapestry are equal in value, no matter what their color. Thank you to Jan for being here, one of my best friends, Christine, my pal's mentee. I have to thank my Baker Hostetler family. Thank you for all of your support over the years. To ABWA, the Committee on Minorities in the Profession, and thank you, City Bar and the Diversity Champion Award Committee. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for this overwhelming honor.
I think you'll agree that our committee did well with the first 3 recipients. I think you'll agree with our 4th recipient that he is equally deserving of this award and the recognition by the City Bar, and that recipient is Andrew Hahn. And to introduce him is the Honorable Denny Chen. Judge Chen is a circuit court judge for the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, having been sworn into the Second Circuit in 2010. From 1994 through 2010, Judge Chen was the first Asian American appointed as a U.S. District Court judge outside the Ninth Circuit. And for those of you that are not attorneys, that means anything away from California, basically. And as of 2011, March of this year, he was the only federal appellate judge of Asian American descent on active status in the country. And so with that, I'm going to turn the podium over to Judge Chen to introduce Andy Kahn.
Thank you very much. This is a great gathering, and it's an honor for me to be here. I also happen to know 3 out of the 4 honorees. I've seen Sheila's energy at the Federal Bar Council in of court, and of course Vince and I have worked together a lot over the years. So it is my honor to introduce the 4th recipient of the City Bar's Diversity Award, Andy Hahn. I also want to acknowledge his wife, Rosa, who's here today, and congratulate her on putting up with Andy over all these years. Andy has been a true champion of diversity in the profession. He has done so internally at the law firms where he has practiced, advocating for and implementing initiatives that have made the firms stronger and more diverse. Stronger because they are more diverse. And Andy has been a good example that diversity is also good business. He's also excelled externally by taking on leadership roles at organizations like the Asian American Bar Association of New York, the National Asian Pacific American Bar Association, and the Korean American Lawyers Association of Greater New York. From my perspective, a topic that's dear to my heart is Andy's efforts with respect to diversity on the bench. He has been particularly helpful in that respect. He was chair of Albany's Judiciary Committee way back in 1993 when I first applied to be on the district court. And when I was going through that very difficult process, he was there. Andy was also on the City Bar's Judiciary Committee for 3 years, from 1996 to 1999. And the Judiciary Committee is one of the City Bar's busiest and most important committees. And it was extremely important to have an Asian American on that committee. In 2007, Andy became president-elect of NAPABA, and he took over as president in 2009. It is no coincidence that in the last several years, the number of active Asian American Article III judges has grown from 6 to 14. For many years, it hovered around 5 or 6, and then today we're now 14. And Andy played a critical role in this effort. He was in the leadership position when it started. Lorraine said as of March 2011, I was the only active Court of Appeals judge of Asian American descent in the country. Well, it looks like it will be that way for a while with the defeat of Professor Liu last week. But Andy did so much to help us eliminate that zero that had been there for 5 or 6 years. But Andy has been a great resource, not just for the federal judiciary, but also for young lawyers. He has been a wonderful role model and a great mentor for many. His karaoke outings are legendary. In fact, he brought some friends along today who are not lawyers, and they were talking about karaoke. Despite his successes, Andy has never forgotten his community. He has never forgotten his roots. He continues to be an inspiration to us all, and he has shown us that diversity goes hand in hand with personal and professional success. For all that he has done and for all that he will continue to do, the New York City Bar Association honors Andy Hahn with its 2011 Diversity Champion Award.
Thank you, Judge Chen, for coming and introducing me. I know you're very busy downtown. Vince, I understand a new apocalyptic date is October 21st, which is okay by me because my 50th birthday is October 22nd, and I really had no desire to turn 50. I'd like to get my thank yous out away first. Let me first thank the Asian American Bar Association of New York. Thank you for your tireless efforts, especially James Chu, President Linda Lin, Executive Director Young Chen, and the rest of the board for nominating me for this prestigious award. And thank you for the New York City Bar Association, Zakia, Elizabeth, Lorraine, for bestowing this great honor upon me. And I want to express my appreciation to all my friends and my new colleagues, Dwayne Morris, who is taking the time off to celebrate this award with me. And of course, I would be very remiss if I did not recognize my wife, Rosa, who had to maintain the home front all those late nights And on weekends when I was karaoke, no. Performing my duties as a bar association representative. Quick story. Rosa was the first piano teacher of Lady Gaga, as some of you may know. And if you saw Saturday Night Live this past weekend, you could see that she was taught very well by my wife. But I'll be very brief, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but I have a very important message. And where's Judge Robinson? You know, Judge Robinson, you gave my speech. I mean, great minds must think alike. It must be that Cornell Law education or something. Yeah, Cornell Law, 86. But it may not be a surprise to you, many of you in the room, that diversity in the legal profession is almost becoming a contradiction in terms, much like jumbo shrimp, military justice, honest politician, and back 25 years ago when I first started in the profession, Asian American litigator. But seriously, diversity in the legal profession is at a critical juncture. As everyone recognized, while the demographics in the city, the state, this country is moving towards increasing diversity, the statistics in the legal profession is exhibiting the opposite trend, or at least a stagnant trend. And I think I may know the reason why. Certain law firms, corporations, government, and Judge Robinson mentioned this, or alluded to this, some of the people have this attitude that, oh, we don't care about diversity, or we don't consider diversity because we want the best. And it's almost as if they're suggesting that diversity and quality are two mutually exclusive categories, like a Venn diagram. You have diversity on one hand, quality on the other, and there's no overlap. But let me tell you, that attitude is not only insulting, it's wrong. There is an overlap. I've been practicing in this profession for almost 25 years, and I will tell you honestly that the diverse attorneys that I was in the trenches with are amongst the best and the brightest attorneys I have ever worked with before. They are hardworking, they're intelligent, passionate, persistent, and they have what's very important, a chip on their shoulder. And they have a chip on their shoulder because, as one of the honorees mentioned, they are usually the first and only one in their families to be lawyers. So they have something to prove. And we all know, that we cannot make a mistake because we will not get a second opportunity to correct it. Conversely, in my same 20 years in the legal profession, I have seen decisions on hiring, retention, and promotion being based on factors such as favoritism, connections, nepotisms, politics, and, dare I say, discrimination. And that is why diversity programs is so important. Judge Robinson mentioned it. It levels the playing field. It injects a sense of meritocracy in a profession that is losing meritocracy. So what do? Well, let me first first state that the people who don't consider diversity are ones that want to maintain the status quo. And as the great late President Reagan said, status quo, that's Latin for the mess we're in. So let me just conclude and say, if anyone ever dares tell you that we don't consider diversity because we want the best, I want all of you to look them in the face and say, if you want the best, you better consider diversity. Thank you.
Well, it's time to wrap this up. Thank you all very much for being here. This is fantastic honorees. You heard 4 great presentations, 4 great speeches. You can see exactly why they were chosen. You will all be getting your invitations to the 7th Annual Diversity Champion Award very soon. We hope to see you all back here next year. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. Lorraine, thank you very much for your excellent work. Enjoy the day. Take this great message out to the world, and we'll see you all next year. Thank you. Terrific.